Good day, everyone. Welcome to Real Conservative News. I'm your host, Nathaniel Rajkumar. TNT was the sole CARICOM member to back the United States. She's standing alone, boy. Military presence in the region at an emergency meeting of the Community of Latin America and Caribbean States, CELAC. Foreign and CARICOM Affairs Minister Sean Sobers said yesterday that CELAC requested a meeting on Monday and sought to draft a communique on behalf of all members condemning the U.S. military presence in the Caribbean. That's to tell you how they are all blinded by Satan's tribalism and jihadist type of concepts and their hatred towards colonials and the Western civilization. It's demonic, people. It is demonic. Essentially, what the communique was saying is that the presence of the U.S. within the region, the military presence, could cause instability, as though we don't already have instability because of drugs and crimes and gangs. And it could be a threat against essentially regional security. You can imagine that. The U.S. military fighting a war against gangs and drugs, and that could cause instability and endanger our security. However, Sobers said TNT, along with some Latin American countries, objected. We said, listen, we are not in support of that. We're not in support of any sort of wars and instability. And we are not in support of for these reasons. Explaining the reasons for this country's objection, Sobers said, we support all of those things, region of peace and stability. But there's no evidence, and this is what I love about his response. He said, but there's no evidence to suggest that the U.S. intervention against transnational crime will destabilize regional security. There's no evidence to suggest that the U.S. intervention against transnational crime would cause the region to be a region that does not hold true to the tenets of peace. Asked which other countries shared similar sentiments that objected, Sobers said Argentina, Dominican Republic, Ecuador, Paraguay, Peru, Panama, and Costa Rica. Congratulations to all of them for standing up for what is right. My response, Caribbean leaders are tribal cowards who choose to stay silent due to fear of being attacked by dictators like Maduro and his mafia regime. That is one reason, because they are cowards. But their common denominator is their hatred for the colonial white man America, and therefore prefer to ignore our region's drug and human trafficking crisis. Didn't Guyana recently support America's intervention so how come only Trinidad had the courage to stand up for what is right this time? Am I wrong? Didn't I hear somehow or the other? Didn't I read somewhere on Guyana Chronicle or one of those other Guyana pages, media houses, that Irfan Ali supported the war against drugs that America has waged against the cartels in the Caribbean? I don't know. I'm just wondering what the hell is going on. But once again, I am proud. I am proud of the United National Congress. I am proud of our Prime Minister, we the people's Prime Minister, who continues to lean on the Christian conservative side of politics. Because this is more than just about conservatism, people. This is about Christian principles and values. It's about being our brother's keeper. It's about protecting our own sovereignty as well. It's about standing up for democracy, people. Because that is what American values are. It's all about democracy. But here in the Caribbean, tribalism, which is satanic, has caused people to turn against Western civilization, turn against our colonial past. It's demonic, I am telling you. No more overheating phones. Cool your phones in seconds. prevents damage to phones and battery issues, better gaming experience and streaming, USB powered and fast charging, lightweight and quiet, ideal for kids and adults, works with all smartphones, makes a great gift. Enjoy free island-wide delivery. Call or WhatsApp 868-762-6589. The Ministry of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs extended a warm official welcome to Her Excellency Dr. Linda Sober Ali, the new ambassador of the so-called state of Palestine to Trinidad and Tobago. I added on the so-called. This is my news report and I can put whatever I want in it. I'm not even saying which media house reported it, anyhow you take it. My response, TNT will lose. Mark my words, people, TNT will lose blessings for making this decision to recognize a nation whose people desires to erase Israel off the face of the earth. They are indoctrinated since young. Not just in Gaza, but in Judea and Samaria as well, what people call the West Bank. These people have been indoctrinated since children to despise the Israelis and to drive them into the sea, to erase them off the face of the earth. They do not want a two-state solution, people. They do not want to live side by side by a Jewish state. They want one Palestinian state. Trinidadians fell for the trap. And that is really sad. That is really disappointing. Once again, it's because, of course, the Kamala Prasad administration isn't a Christian political party or anything like that. She's leaning on the Christian conservative side. And I hope at some point in time she will wake up and realize that she should be standing firmly with Israel and blessings will flow into Trinidad. Mark my words, the day we stand firmly with Israel, you're going to see blessings flowing into Trinidad in abundance in a way that we are not seeing at this point in time. I went on to say there's historical, archaeological, and biblical evidence of an ancient Jewish kingdom of Israel. It was led by Saul and later on King David. And then there was also the kingdom of Judah after the kingdom of Israel split in half. But there was never a Palestinian kingdom or empire. Judea was renamed Palestine in 135 or 136 AD, somewhere around that time, by the Roman Emperor Hadrian. And it was due to a failed Jewish revolt, people, not a Palestinian revolt, a Jewish revolt. Thankfully, the UNC regime leans on the Christian conservative side on most other political issues, and that's why blessings will continue to flow. But if you want increased blessings in abundance, stand with Israel. You won't be disappointed with this one. Look and feel great every day. Painless trimming with no pulling of hair guaranteed. Comfortable to hold and lightweight. Intelligent anti-pinch system. Safety travel lock. Accurate and painless trimming. Durability 100% quality. Fast charging. To place an order, call or WhatsApp 868-762-6589. Minister of Education, Dr. Michael Dowlett, says the government has zero tolerance for indiscipline in schools. Wonderful. And all incidents of violence and misconduct will be treated with severity. Wonderful again. I'm telling you, let them face the law. Let them face the law. They want to be big man and big woman. Let them be arrested and face the courts. Speaking during Thursday's post-cabinet media briefing, Minister Dowlett confirmed that in an effort to create safe and secure learning environments, police officers will now be deployed into schools across Trinidad and Tobago. I want them to be deployed in all schools, not just what they consider the hotspots. I hope they end up in Sangre Grande as well. Minister Dowlett said the decision was taken due to rising incidents of indiscipline and violence in schools. My response, because of course there are principals, there were reports of principals opposing this decision. Who the hell does that? We are trying to hide. Any principals who are enabling criminal activity in their schools and protect delinquent Trinidadian gangsters or bullies should be relieved of their duties immediately. I still can't believe that there are officials out there who disapprove of placing police officers in various schools throughout TNT. I'm shocked about that, you know. I would have thought all principals and school officials would have welcomed that. What I'm telling you, once again, I want to know what you have to hide. Like, you enjoy the drug trafficking trade that is taking place in your schools or what? Like, you benefited from it or what? You taxing them or what? You taxing the gangsters in your schools or what? I want to know, you know. I want to know.
Minister of Education, Dr. Michael Dowlett, says the government has zero tolerance for indiscipline in schools and all incidents of violence and misconduct will be treated with severity. Speaking during a post-cabinet briefing on Thursday, Minister Dowlett confirmed that in an effort to create safe and secure learning environments, police officers will now be deployed into schools across Trinidad and Tobago.
The deployment plan is as follows. 2 police officers will be stationed in 50 secondary schools identified as priority institutions. 10 other secondary schools and 10 primary schools will benefit from dedicated police patrols to ensure consistent coverage and rapid response.
The decision was taken due to rising incidents of indiscipline and violence in schools.
Increased reports of school violence, gang influence, and threats from external elements. And these trends threaten student safety and disrupt teaching and learning. In order to ensure safety in a changing environment, both in and outside of the school environment, schools must be protected against the full range of risk in our society today.
He explained the protocols in place to deal with students found with weapons in their possession.
If a weapon is found in a student's bag or on their person, the principal will be immediately notified, and the item will be secured safely by the MTS officer, the safety officer, or the school-oriented police officer. And then this school discipline measures will come in place.
Minister Dowlett says this approach mirrors successful models in countries such as the United States, Canada, the United Kingdom, Jamaica, and Barbados.
Minister of Homeland Security Roger Alexander has confirmed that the Port of Spain prison will be decommissioned. Wonderful news. He stated that the prison built 268 years ago had been condemned some time ago. It has cost the state millions of dollars due to breaches of prisoners' rights. It's in a deplorable state. I can imagine how other countries, first world nations, have been looking at us as though we are some kind of barbarians. Yes, justice needs to be served. Send those who need to be sent into eternity. But you cannot have people housed. You cannot have people in a prison that even animals will feel as though they're suffering in. Animals shouldn't even be kept in that prison, far less for human beings. No, people. You cannot do that. It is wrong. It is wrong. Minister Alexander said that the decommissioning will be done in 4 phases. The removal of prisoners will be the first phase, where they will be taken to the maximum security prison. My response? Trinidadians, Trinis aren't accustomed to this type of good governance, and which reflects the values set in first world democratic countries. The same Western civilization value people. That is what I love about the Kamala Prasad administration. Venezuelan Minister of Popular Power for Interior Justice and Peace, Diosdado Cabello, says Trinidad and Tobago's and other Caribbean fishermen are being condemned to execution at sea as a result of the Trinidadian government's decision to align with the U.S. post its lethal strike in Caribbean waters. Oh gosh, all of a sudden, it's not drug traffickers, you know, it's fishermen. And the thing about it is, wasn't that the Maduro regime claiming that it was an AI video, that it was fake? I would love U.S. to use an AI video and invade Venezuela as well. But of course, the Kamala Prasad administration has nothing to do with what I'm saying there. That's my personal opinion, and a lot of other people wish that America would invade Venezuela and remove that criminal regime from office, just like with the Ayatollah in Iran. Speaking on Venezuelan television during a weekly program on Wednesday night, Cabello made reference to a drunk woman PNM narrative. I telling you, PNM and that Maduro regime, they are one. They are lovers, political lovers, of course. Governing Trinidad and a stupid crook in the Dominican Republic, stating that these countries' people were being condemned. Lies, fear-mongering, total utter nonsense. And the Syrian, Lebanese media in Trinidad and Tobago pushing the narratives. I reported it, but I am also condemning it and debunking it as well. My response, Maduro appears to be attempting to bully UNC into submission. And sadly, this is the sad part about it, he's getting us support from our own Trinidad citizens and mainstream media. The Syrian, Lebanese, 1% jihadist media. This may not be treason, but it's definitely betrayal at the highest level. Even when Rowley was in office, I would have never supported a Venezuelan invasion or false accusations being made against our peoples. Matter of fact, I supported the diplomatic agreement that was signed with the USA while PNM was still in office. Many of you and all the PNMites all of a sudden have forgotten that it was signed while PNM was still in office. The agreement that American troops can be placed in Trinidad and Tobago if there's an outbreak of war. All of a sudden, they get it on as though it's the UNC that made that decision. It was signed, and the media was asking the PNM about it, but they're forgetting all that now because they despise Kamala so much, so they want to throw Kamala under the bus. I wanted to say, right, so I'll just read over that part. Matter of fact, I supported the diplomatic agreement that was signed with the USA while PNM was still in office. I honestly can't stand how fellow Trinidadians can be so shallow and full of hate. They hate Western civilization and the white man colonialists so much that they wouldn't even stand up for what is right. Stand up against the war and support the war against drug trafficking and human trafficking and crime and gangs in the Caribbean region. I want to say, I wonder where this terrorist got the drunk narrative from. Could it be the mighty morphin Guyana Syrian 1% PNM? How could it be right for so many people to support dictators and terrorists in Venezuela and the Middle East simply because they despise the European and white Americans or American whites? Can't you all see how demonic that is? Would you condone bullying? I want people to answer this question. Would you condone bullying of school kids if the victims are white? You know, plenty of you all will say yes because of the past and the history. Telling you, demon possession. That's what's taking place because of tribalism. Is this why you don't mind a jihadist erase millions of Israelis off the face of the earth? And wouldn't dare deem that to be a genocide? The people right here in Trinidad and Tobago would support what took place on October 7th, 2023. That they would support that being repeated over and over again, people. The murder of children, babies, men and women, families, because they are Israelis, they don't mind that type of genocide. The only kind of genocide they don't agree with is the fake genocide in Gaza, because there's no genocide in Gaza. If Israel wanted to commit a genocide in Gaza, it could take place today. It could have taken place on October the 7th, 2023 as well. One Hiroshima effect, and that would be it for Gaza. Well, they're just playing games, I'm telling you, it's mind games. I went on to say, God may have mercy upon this land, because this type of tribalism will cause us to face extreme judgment in the near future. A 20-year-old woman died in an early morning accident along the M1 Tasker Road, Princestown. That's yesterday, of course. Naomi Ramnarine of Libertyville, Rio Claro, was the front seat passenger in a blue Nissan Frontier driven by her boyfriend. According to police reports, the pickup collided head-on with another car. Listen to that part, collided head-on. Somebody was wrong. Somebody was overtaken when they shouldn't be. Her boyfriend and her boyfriend's stepmother were rushed to the hospital for treatment. The trio were reportedly on their way to Piarco International Airport to meet a relative. If they were the ones that were speeding and overtaking when they shouldn't have, now you still can't meet the relative. It made sense? At least, well, none of you, because the rest of you in hospital as well. My response, the vehicle collided head-on with another car who decided to overtake when it wasn't safe to do so. I'm not blaming either parties right now because we don't know. But somebody is definitely wrong. This woman lost her life because of a need for speed, arrogant, reckless driver. Once again, I cannot say which one, whether it's her boyfriend or the other driver. Whoever is responsible for causing this accident should be charged with murder. How many more must die before we demand an end to the need for speed culture here in TNT? I want to know.
A 20-year-old woman died in an early morning accident along the M1 Tasker Road in Princestown. Naomi Ramnarine of Libertyville, Rio Claro, was the front seat passenger in a blue Nissan Frontier driven by her boyfriend. Her boyfriend and his stepmother, who is seated in the back, were rushed to hospital for treatment. The trio were reportedly on their way to the Piarco International Airport to meet a relative. According to police reports, the pickup collided head-on with another vehicle. Ms. Ramnarine is the second young woman to lose her life in a road accident in as many days this week. On September 3rd, 19-year-old Lisanne Julian was killed when the Honda vessel she was traveling in collided with a PTSC bus along Park Street in Port of Spain. 3 other passengers and the driver in that incident are being treated at hospital.
No more overheating phones. Cool your phones in seconds. Prevents damage to phones and battery issues. Better gaming experience and streaming. USB powered and fast charging. Lightweight and quiet. Ideal for kids and adults. Works with all smartphones. Makes a great gift. Enjoy free island-wide delivery. Call or WhatsApp 868-762-6589. Cabinet has agreed, and this is really good news, to the procurement and acquisition of 25 mobile police units. At Thursday's post-cabinet media briefing, Minister of Defense Wayne Sturge said the units will be used in joint operations by the police and the defense force. These mobile police units would comprise of 5 units, which are similar in size to 20-foot containers. And these units can sleep 4 to 8 officers, and a further 20 units similar in dimension to 40-foot shipping containers. And these containers can sleep 6 to 12 officers, in other words, house them. These units are being constructed and when constructed will be deployed with a view to enhancing police visibility and to strengthen the presence of law enforcement in communities nationwide. The minister said the units will be strategically placed around the country to monitor and respond to crime and traffic incidents. My response, this is one of the solutions that I've been suggesting for many years now. Anyone who has been following my commentary and even videos would attest to the fact that I've been saying that it was important to place mobile police posts in all hotspots throughout Trinidad and Tobago. It will definitely reduce and deter crime. People, just make sure that they wear body cams so that they themselves cannot abuse their power. I went on to say PNMites could rant and rave all they want, but the reality is that their own communities will be much safer when there are mobile police posts nearby. I hope some are placed near illegal yet known ports of entry as well, because that's what I've been saying as well. To be able to end the border crisis issue, the immigration crisis that we have in Trinidad and Tobago, we definitely need our seas to be patrolled 24/7 by the Coast Guard. But besides that, we also need to have mobile posts placed in those areas, those strategic areas where they know very well. These are where the illegal immigrants are entering into our country. News from Guyana. The Guyana Elections Commission, GCOM, hereby issues a strong condemnation of the unauthorized filming and subsequent dissemination of misleading information by Ms. Hadida Mohammed, sister of the We Invest in Nationhood Party presidential candidate. That's the WIN party. That's the one that only win about one area in one region in Guyana. Taking it away, I think, from the PNC. PNC is the PNM version in Guyana. And basically, they are dead now. They are I think only probably one region they have been able to hold on to. And their main area, they lost it. Although they're challenging things now. Ms. Mohammed, while present within the GCOM compound during the ongoing recount of ballots, same thing, I'm telling you, they're challenging it, in Sub-District 4 of District 4, filmed ballot boxes are waiting to recount and subsequently uploaded a video to a Facebook page accompanied by unsubstantiated statements. I don't know if it's a criminal act, so she may not be arrested, but it's total and utter nonsense. Police in Berbice are investigating an incident at number 19 Village Reserve, Quarantine, after a woman reported that her home was ransacked and valuables stolen following threats linked to political tensions. The victim, 54-year-old Helen Kashi, a self-employed resident of the community, told investigators that the ordeal began on the evening of September 2nd, 2025, while she was visiting her mother's residence. Politics, boy, to resort to violence, no matter which side it is, whether it is the PPP party that I support committing that act, or most likely probably the PNC or the Win party, you don't know. There's so many other political parties in Guyana. Police are probing a shocking case of alleged murder and arson that occurred in the early hours of Wednesday, September 3, 2025, at Lot 22, 2nd Street, Cummings Lodge, East Coast, Demerara. Dead is 50-year-old housewife Paula Abram, who was reportedly stabbed to death by her reputed husband, Ishwar Singh, a 46-year-old unemployment resident of the same address. God, boy, I'm telling you, men, boy. Men and the obsession with being in control and considering women to be their property instead of partners. That by itself, people, is demonic.
You won't be disappointed with this one. Look and feel great every day. Painless trimming with no pulling of hair guaranteed. Comfortable to hold and lightweight. Intelligent anti-pinch system. Safety travel lock. Accurate and painless trimming. Durability 100% quality. Fast charging. To place an order, call or WhatsApp 868-762-6589.
News from Jamaica. Jayan Holmes, the St. Catherine woman who was charged with harboring a fugitive after being found in the company of an escapee from the Constant Spring police lockup, has been freed of the charge. When 21-year-old Holmes appeared before the St. Catherine Parish Court on Tuesday, the Crown conceded that a case could not be made out against her. Papa. The decomposing body of an elderly man was found inside his home in Dobson District, Colleyville, Manchester, on Wednesday. Dead is 78-year-old pensioner Colin Sonson, that's his nickname, or alias Clark. The Christiana police report that around 11 a.m. they received a report about a scene in the area. Hurricane Lorena weakened to a tropical storm Thursday, but forecasters said a life-threatening risk of flash flooding and mudslides was still present for parts of Mexico, Baja California Peninsula. Tropical storm Lorena had maximum sustained winds of 60 miles per hour. That is a lot, people. The U.S. National Hurricane Center said. A 32-year-old St. Catherine man who allegedly engaged members of a police team in an armed confrontation in Portmore last night was fatally shot, and an illegal firearm was seized from him. He has been identified as Horace Romain Dish, otherwise called Jesus Fresh, Papa, of South Borough in Portmore. Question is, did the police officers have body cams on them to be able to verify their claims? Was this yet another extrajudicial killing? Because extrajudicial killings are very known, are very commonly practiced in Jamaica, just like here in Trinidad and Tobago. International news now. The United States and Panama are urging the UN Security Council to authorize a 5,550-member force with the power to detain gang members in Haiti to help stop the escalating violence. I've said it over and over again, there is need for international intervention. The tribals here in Trinidad and Tobago who despise the colonialists will of course oppose it. The two countries outlined a proposal to transform the Kenya-led multinational force now deployed in the Caribbean nation into a much larger force in a draft resolution to the UN Security Council obtained Wednesday by the Associated Press. They will crush the gangs in Haiti. That's what needs to be done at this point in time to be able to take back that country and to save the rest of the population from utter destruction. News from India. Nepal banned Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and other platforms for failing to register with the authorities. I wonder why they failed though. The decision sparked criticism from journalists and concerns over communication and income for millions of Nepalese at home and abroad, exactly because some of those Indian people in those places have millions of followers. You know? So that's the bread and butter, people. That's the bread and butter. And I'm not being sarcastic. I'm very genuine in what I'm saying there. The Ministry of Communication and Information Technology has directed the Nepal Telecommunications Authority to disable unregistered platforms from Thursday midnight. To me, that sounds strange, boy. I don't know. They could have a justified reason, but honestly speaking, I don't know. Something about that, somehow or the other, that smells a whole lot like censorship. Folks, that brings us to the end of today's news report. Thanks again to everyone who continues to support my content. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. Stay blessed and stay safe most of all, in Jesus' name.